Welcome to the E-Commerce Growth Show, brought to you by Segmentify.
Hello everyone, this is Carlos again for another episode of the E-Commerce Growth Show Scandinavia. I'm with Evolve and the show is brought by Segmentify. Today I have the honor to be joined by Mathilde Mackowski. I believe she's a co-founder of Sinful. And I'm super excited about this interview because it's a very different one. Sinful is the largest digital commerce company with sex toys around Scandinavia. They have received several awards. And they have a noble mission of inspiring everyone to have a better sex life. So Mathilde, I always start all my episodes with the same question, which is the big picture. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you, come about Sinful and ended up in the world of digital commerce?
That's a big question. Yes. So just a small background reflection. Hated school. Didn't like to read. Didn't like to write. Didn't like anything that was about school. But I had a mission. I had a feeling that I wanted to build something big. I didn't have a clue on how I could do it, or when, or with who, or how I ever could have the skills to do something cool and big, or something that would change the world. But I just kept on believing that one day it will come to me. So I met my business partner Tony in 2006, I think. Yes. And we were just jamming around with cool things we could change the world with it, from why we never looked at a toothbrush and make it more nice to hold in your hand, or made it, why didn't anyone look at it and designed it with a cool design? And, so it's many years ago when no one did that. So we were just jamming about millions project, but we met as a couple and we became boyfriend and girlfriend. And on the side, something that we didn't talk that much about was that we talked about it, but in privacy, but not as a project that we could do something about in the beginning. It was that we were using sex toys, and we started to find out that there were so many barriers actually for buying sex toys that made us feel wrong or dirty or different or stuff like that. So in that in that way, we started jamming about why is nobody taking this business serious? Because it was so fun for us to use sex toys. It was when you're using a sex toy, you communicate on a higher level because there's something else you can laugh about, that if something goes wrong, it's more fun. You can send a guideline to the product easily than to, for example, a hand and so on. So that was a short jump into the Sinful idea.
I love it, and thanks for that. So I send you a guide, but since we're talking about this and you're very open about sharing a bit of your life, I think when we talk about sex, I mean, it's such an intimate thing that when you're with a person sharing a moment, right? And I recall from my previous experiences in Brazil, like when I was starting my life, and it was you're discovering yourself, and I think that is when you could be tackling. We could be talking about a product itself, but you have another mission, it seems, which is deeper. It is almost about the soul, because you're sharing something that is all your intimacy with someone else. You know what I mean? So I find this very, very interesting what you guys are doing. So perhaps you could talk about that mission, like of inspiring people to have a better sex life, because I think having a great sex life, I mean, implies that you're gonna have a very, very good life, I believe. Like and yeah, sex is a big taboo, big topic. I think regardless where you come from, even though I believe in Scandinavian countries, I've always thought you would be more progressive in many ways, So perhaps you could comment about the mission and
So our mission is to give a playful sex life, or to help people to have a playful sex life. And our tagline, or the why, is called a playful sex life for everyone. And it's super inclusive. We don't want to be woke. We don't want to be, we really want to, express ourselves so everyone can relate to us. So relatable is also the way to get this mission out. Because for me, it has always been just a normal thing, a natural thing for me to have a open-minded feeling around my sex toy, sex life, and my body. And because for me, it's not a big deal. It's just a body, and it's just something that is very nice when it's working. For example, the sex life. If you can talk about sex, even though you don't have sex with your partner, but if you can talk about it, it's so less painful to not have sex. So for me, it's just like, I'm as a person, I'm like this in every corner of my soul. It's not that I'm super open with this and very closed around everything else. It's just like, what you see is what you get. And for me, it was very clear that because this mission is so much more than the product. It's about help and inspire people to do just one good thing for themselves. For example, 1 time a year. Can you just imagine if people did one great thing every day, or every month, or every year, or every second year? That would be one thing more that you are doing better with yourself. And that could be they could try a new thing, they could kiss on a new way, they could date a new way, they could, so that's also a thing that we want to, teach people at some point. But yeah, so the whole mission to give people or help people having this playful sex life is it's just the foundation of Sinful. And we believe that a great way to make this happen is to, like, totally, when you want kids to play, you just give them some toy. And this is actually the same. So we are kind of, Lego for grown-ups. You can build your own world with this, and you can build. Some want to build a kinky world, some want to build a foreplay-ish world, and you can build your own world, and that's kind of quite cool, I think.
I love that, and I think there's such a huge educational element in what you do. We'll speak about that, but before that, perhaps we can go back in like history and like, because now turning over a lot of hundreds of millions of kroner or euros, however we whatever exchange we use, it doesn't matter. But I'm sure there was a point where things probably were not so easy, or there was a low point in your journey or the company's journey. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the journey itself, because now, I mean, awards and amazing stuff, but tell us about this journey and the barriers and challenges maybe you had to overcome. I think that's really interesting.
I think we are one of those easy, stable, growing companies. Because we are a bit, what do you call it? Conservative, I think. Tony and I, who is still my business partner, not my partner, private partner, but he's my business partner. So we, you know, build it one piece at a time. So we got the idea, and we were of course having a launch party where we invited a lot of people, and we didn't want to drink because we were thinking, oh, we have to go up tomorrow and just pack a lot of packages, and you know, there was absolutely no orders for many months. So we started totally like, you know, from the scratch. We had absolutely no experience with online sale. We were building everything from the beginning. You know, we were actually planning to start a normal classic boutique, but no one wanted to rent out locations for us because they didn't want to be combined with sex toys, even though we had this clear mind. We were saying, like, you know, we start where H&M is stopping. So with very nice lingerie, and just nothing that is nude colored, or you know, really try to get everything that people were related with when they were thinking about a sex shop. We were trying to remove everything because we want to give this a new start. So, but no one wanted to rent anything out to us, so we were just we did it online, and I'm grateful about that now, because it's easier to go cross border. For us, it might have been easy as well with boutiques, I don't know, but I like the online idea. Yeah, I also like to shop online myself. I only shop online, so
And it's been like 14 years, right? The company has turned 14 years. And so what changed then? I mean, you had those barriers to have a physical, let's call it like an offline boutique, and then you went online, and then like, how, you know, tell us a little bit about the progression of the company.
Okay, so it was very slow the first maybe 6 years, and then we really started to we moved from the little town where we opened the web shop. We moved to Aarhus, which is a bigger city. A lot of young people that are, you know, it was and it was so much easier to get, you know, student workers, you know, and it kind of started. It was kind of a new beginning in 2014, I think. So it was 5 years or something after the beginning. And then we also start working with, you know, having a what do you call it, advisory board, and started using more money on, you know, more heavy, what do you call it, colleagues, you know, so people trying to build up a C-level and all this. And that really was needed, because we did everything ourselves.
So it was just the two of you running the shop?
We were, we were. Everyone was referring to us, but we were, I think, 20 people. So it was, you know, too many things. That was, you know, we worked ourselves in every corner of the company. And then when we started to, you know, try to get the right employees that could help us, that really was a good thing for us.
You know, in that journey, so during this 6 initial years, you know, you were bootstrapped, and I'm curious about, because you said people were referring us, like I'm supposing you're talking about the customers as well?
No, for example, I still worked in the customer service area at that point, for example. and referral. You know that word? Is it referring?
Referral, yeah.
Okay, but my English is so bad.
No, it's not.
So,
I can understand you. It's perfect.
That's cool. You know, I was bad in school, so
No,
I didn't
perfect.
I didn't pass the test in
What?
the ground school or whatever you say.
Yeah,
So
it's perfect English, Mathilde. Please.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I talked a lot with customers still back then, and you know, we were. So I also had a lot of people that you know talked with me if there was something wrong, and so we were fixing a lot of small things all the times instead of building an extra layer. But that really worked for us when we did that, and that was also why we started to getting more of these awards and so on. The first award we got in 2015. That was the Gazelle, and we got it each year since that. So 6 of those in a row, and hopefully we will have the last one, not the last one, the next one this year as well. So yeah, so that was kind of a new beginning in so many ways. But but we built it up slowly. So we have no whoa cool story about, you know, and then it suddenly did like that, because it has always been fast in a slow way, you know, or slow in a fast way. I don't know when people would say it, but it's like when people tell about their kids, you know, it goes slowly for the parents, but if you look at the kids, you're just like, oh my God, your kids are growing so fast. So I think it's the same feeling.
Thanks. What did you learn the most when working at the customer service? Because you said, you know, that I think that's such a powerful department in every company.
Yeah, it is.
People don't understand.
I'm so happy that but I learned so many things. I learned that so many people are willing to work with themselves and their sex life to have a better sex life, and that's fucking awesome. You know, very old couples that were, you know, for example, there was a old man and his wife, they had didn't have sex the last 10 years because he got a cancer in prostate, and he couldn't hold his erection by himself, and he, because of some heart issue, he couldn't, you know, it didn't work for him to take the blue pill. So, you know, I just advised him to buy a penis pump and a little cock ring. And he used that, and he called back and said, it worked. We had sex for the first year, for the first time in 10 years, you know. So there are so many of those wonderful stories. An old lady calling to say, I didn't have any sexual arousal in my body the last 30 years because my husband died 30 years ago, and I want to buy a vibrator, but you have to help me finding one that looks discreet, because when I die, I don't want my kids to find it and think that I'm gross, you know, stuff like that. So that was, you know, that so many people from different kinds of ages and different kinds of places in the world see the value in having a great sex life.
I think that's so awesome, because again, it's so I think hard, you know, for people to open up, like, because in order to open up about something so intimate, like, I mean, I'm going to a website, I'm just imagining my journey, right? And then I have my fetish and my things, and I mean, I'm not going to talk to maybe my friends, but then I have this place where somehow I trust, or I have to trust, right, that they're not going to judge me. And then I can share stuff that is really, really, really intimate there. And I was wondering, I wanted to talk to you about the customer behavior, you know, like, and yeah, what is their journey like? Because you have probably nowadays, I guess, mapped out the personas and types of
Yeah.
let's say occasions, you know, that people might look for a sex toy, or you have some personas, I guess. And so could you tell a little bit about that? It's so interesting.
The best thing about it is that it is so different from person to person. So it's actually super difficult for us to make these journeys, because it's sexual preferences or whatever you are curious about or is so different, really. So of course we could put people in it, but it's more like the one who loves to buy fetish sex toys, the one who likes to buy for men, for couples, and for women. And but it's so different which kind of product they start with. But for example, we have made this calendar, and the whole idea of making it's a Christmas calendar or Advent calendar, I think you will say. The reason why we did, come up with that idea was also that if we should invite the playfulness into people's life, and that was also what we learned about people from customer service. People they really want to get inspired. They really want help. They really want to stimulate their curiosity and so on. And then we were looking at, okay, so what do we know already that do these things? And that was we came up with the idea to make this Advent calendar, because we all know this from when we grow up, and we found out that many people that are starters really like to be introduced softly to all corners of these different kinds of sex toys, because it is a jungle, and it's so different, and it's difficult, and the best way you can find out what you prefer is to try it. So it's a learning by doing journey. If there's something behind one of the doors that you open that you don't like, you will not get mad at your partner. You'll get more like, that's a weird product, but I'm so happy that it was Sinful who collected that one. That was not me, and that was not you. So, and sometimes, people are like, I would never buy a flogger or that kind of vibrator, but then they try it because it's there, and then we're just, okay, so maybe I can use it by in a tickling way instead of a smashing way or whatever. And then people are, so it kind of lower their barrier, and they are stimulating this curiosity in a very nice way. So it's a cool way to start, and we just find out that it's one of the best starting products. So when you talk about that journey,
it is really interesting. It is. I love it. Tell
we
me
talk absolutely nothing about e-commerce. That's awesome.
But
I love it.
Yeah, commerce is just a part. It's just a transaction, because I think you're in the psychic business. You need to understand people's minds and other stuff, and it's so much the higher level for me. It's just so much more interesting. Tell me a little bit about, because still, like, if we're looking at these journeys and people having to share, and then we have the educational element as well. We are seeing big trends, and I have customers. I have a very interesting customer, for example. They work with some global, like, luxury brands doing live, commerce, and it's really cool. What they're doing, and I think a big element of what you do, I'm not sure, because there's another sex toy company, if you like, from Brazil that we are interviewing. They're doing a lot of lives that are not necessarily just to show the products, but to educate and give ideas. Like, so they bring, like, what do you call a sex educator, a sex teacher, and kind of influencers in the field. What are your let's call it educational initiatives, marketing initiatives in that sense, to help inspire people and educate them, in regards to what you guys are doing?
it's kind of more or less the same, because it's a natural way to kind of to do it. We have a lot of we are also educate people who are on these different kinds of sex experts educations. So we are, having a, whatever you say, underviser.
Underviser is like education newspaper. No, it's
but when they're going to this education, we are the ones who will educate them about sex toys. So we are educating sex experts about sex toys and how you can use it in a clinic, or when you are talking with people with handicaps and all that kind of direction. So
influencer marketing is a big part of your strategy, like influencers
as well. Of course, influencers is because it's relatable, but it's very important for us to find relatable influencers. That's super important. We don't just take people. We many famous influencers has always also contacted us, but we just say no because we don't want, if they're a bit too rogue or a bit too aggressive or whatever in some kind of directions. It's not, we don't want to, we don't want to do that. We are, for everyone. So.
Super nice. Can you tell us a little bit about then what type of influencers that you work with? Because
I think we have 600 different kinds of typed influencers. So that's from, single girl with kids, a girl with a partner, girl with a partner that she's married to, girl with a partner that is a boy, girl with a partner that is a girl. So we have mapped many different kinds of. So we're just, again, trying to be relatable because we want to be relatable. So, and we are doing it in all corner of different kinds of sexualities and sex and so on. Gender and so on.
Do you in what you do you join events as well? Do you you participate in events? Can you tell us a little bit about?
It's more like, because of the corona, it has been a bit difficult, so we're just starting again. I know the team is working on something now that I can't tell, but we just made a talk show with one of the famous influencers, for example, here in Denmark, and we just made collaboration products with some of them as well, and so it's actually just the beginning.
How about in terms of, because we see like a lot of people that I talk to, and I think it's probably related with your influencer strategy, maybe you can correct me, but communities, right? Do you have communities maybe on Facebook that you guys nurture and like with knowledge, people on Facebook and that talk about the brand and take the brand
we only have our own community, Sinful. We don't have something extra because it's important for us to be honest and open, and it's important for us to don't do anything undercover that people didn't, was that a sinful thing? We want to be open, and so for us it's better to just say this is sinful and this is us. And
Cool. Mathilde, tell me a little bit about your international expansion, like which countries you're present in.
Okay, I'll see if I can remember everything because we just joined new countries as well. So Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, UK, France, Belgium, Holland, Østrig.
Austria.
Austria, thank you. And who am I forgetting? Germany, of course. Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
How about the behavior, the customer behavior in these countries? Is it different? Do you notice anything?
It's very different, but it's also about which kind of role that other shops are taking in the different kinds of countries. So we have different kinds of roles in all countries, and that's kind of cool. I think that's awesome too. We use a lot of time on getting to know the countries, and of course, the people from the country, customers. So I think we will use the same conservative way to. We are not doing a Zalando, just using a lot of money and and hopefully we'll get them back in 7 years from now. We are more slow and just analyzing and try to find out, okay, how can we help? How can we tell our statement and why to people? And how can we be, how can we help customers? How can we, help them to find the right product and so on? So that's, it takes time. It takes many years to
for sure,
to find that position. Yeah,
I could imagine. And besides, I mean, I believe Denmark is definitely the leading country, but which countries are kind of
the Nordic countries are all
okay. And even in the Nordics, the behavior is different. Do you sense a different behavior? Like
not much. All the Norwegian countries are more or less the same. It's
Can you tell I imagine that also, like, you're very selective. You said about working with influencers, and I imagine with your suppliers as well. Can you talk a little bit about this relationship with suppliers and your brand? How does it work? I think it's interesting. How do you select products?
But that is kind of easy. It's a very little what do you call it? Branch.
Like a branch, like a community.
So there's some different kinds of fairs all over the expos all over the world that we are attending, and we are of course receiving different kinds of material from all brands that we can select from. But it's not like the fashion industry where it's like new product, new all the times. And I really like that. It really fits our minds that it's more slow and more bestseller orientated, and it's also good for the environment. I think that you don't have a collection that you have to throw out or burn or anything. The products is not getting old. I really like that. So it's just very simple. We just look at the product. Just does it fit in? We buy a little amount, find out, do the customers like it? If they don't like it, we don't buy it again. So it's very simple.
Very cool. You're pressed for time, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I would love to ask you more questions. So my last question is your views on the future of your industry. What do you see next? And I would like to thank you in advance.
Of course. So the future, I'm very what do you call it? Nüchtern. Okay, I really is looking for that word, but simple. And I think that the last many years that we have been in the industry, of course, there has been some huge new things, but if I look to other industries, it's not overwhelming. And I think that because we are supplying for a need that is universal, I think we will always be universal, this industry. And of course new technologies will be there, but the latest new technology that came into the industry was a suction technology, and that came 7 years ago, I think. And also app controlled product is one of the newest do you call it, kind of products. But that's not a new thing, and AR is still, there's so much more to learn from that thing. So that will not do anything for specific for the industry the next 5 years, I think. So I think it would be more or less the same, new small technologies, yeah, even I think the industry is really cool, because it's a small community. There's a high control and great product and good materials, and we just launched Sinful ourselves, the first sex toy made from ocean-bound plastic. We launched that some month ago, and I think we will see more of that in all industries, actually, not just this industry. But that's so small new things on the material. I think we will see.
That's very sweet.
but not a lot of big things.
It's perfect. Mathilde, I'd like to thank you very much. If anyone wants to buy from Sinful, what's the best way?
You can Sinful whatever country you're from, but you can always visit the EU side. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cool. You're welcome. Thank you.